I mean, we only had to wait a couple extra minutes for you, Dean. Again.
I appreciate it.
No, you don't. You don't appreciate anything I do for you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Getting to Know Twitless. Hey, Twitless. How are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. Thank you. How are you guys doing?
And end the show. That's it.
And it's over. We're done.
Twitless. Bye, guys.
That's the mega girl. We're all done. You know. That was more than enough.
We got through a stream without telling me to shut up, so that's a record.
Jesus, shut up, Twitless.
There we go. We're good. Call it a night. Stick a fork in it.
I can't even remember how that started.
I opened my mouth is what happened. That's all that was needed. There's Smug Pug. Yep. You can always trust him to come through for me.
Yeah, because you've been around for a while, like in the community, so to speak. So, most people just know your avatar.
Yeah.
But today we're hoping to get to know your book as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, why don't we start there? Actually, what made you decide to jump in on this venture?
A couple things. So part of it was gaming. There was a video game back in the day called City of Heroes, back when MMOs were like the hotness in the days before Fortnite and League of Legends and everything. People played real games like World of Warcraft, and all the comic book nerds said, no, screw that. We're going to play World of Warcraft, but with superheroes instead. So super niche game, and I got really invested into the role-playing aspect of it, which everyone can, I'm sure, make a ton of jokes about that. But I loved the storytelling aspect of it, and there was some drama in some of those communities as well. I don't know if anyone here has played Dungeons and Dragons or anything.
Drama in a fan community?
Yeah.
No way.
And so, and I was a little twerp at the time as well. So, I definitely had my share of it, but it inspired me because I realized that, I loved the storytelling side of things. And I fell in love with it. And I went, I really want to make my own comics. And so I started drafting a comic, and I just had no way to make it. And I started squirreling away money because I'm a child of poverty in a sense. Not super poor, but I didn't grow up with a lot. And so I squirreled away a bunch of money. I ended up with a little bit, but it wasn't enough to really make the comic. And I was just afraid that if I tried to make it, it would just fail. And then I watched, fast forward some years, I got back into City of Heroes again because the game got canceled, and shut down. And some people had the source code, and they've been secretly running servers for years, and then it got leaked, so there was more drama about that. You can look into that if you're like a super MMO nerd. But after the game after all that drama happened, the game was re-released, and so you can actually still play City Heroes right now for free. I got back into some of the role playing and some of the storytelling, and that's where I met my collaborator who actually played Omega Girl in the game. And I really fell in love with the character and the stories we were telling. And that's when I finally went, okay, I really finally got to get a comic out. And so I was stuck with the fact that I only squirreled away a little bit of money, and I was trying to figure it all out. And then I watched this video by, is it Kiyosaki? Yeah. So there's this guy named Robert Kiyosaki, and he had this video, and it was just recommended to me on YouTube. And I'm not a big self-help guy. My buddy, he owns a roofing business. He loves self-help stuff. He reads those books on business and improving yourself, and I just poo on that. I'm an English major. I don't care about improving myself. But this one video just changed my life, and it's so weird because I'm not the type of person to have those moments. But Robert Kiyosaki had this video, and it was it was a clickbait too. It was just all of these things that you would think would just be dumb and a scam. And it was like rich people don't want you to know this secret. And I was like, what is this? So I clicked on it, and the guy said this really interesting thing that just kind of clicked for me. He said he had a rich dad, poor dad. And his rich dad was a person like me and kind of into academia and stuff. and or sorry, he had a rich dad and a poor dad, these two father figures. And the poor dad was the academic, and the poor dad always said, we can't afford that, we can't afford that, we can't afford that. No, no, no. And the rich dad was a business entrepreneur, and the rich dad said, how can we afford that? How can we afford that? And he boiled it down to this. He said, a statement closes the mind and a question opens it. So I asked myself, how could I fund a comic? How could I make it happen? And the answer presented itself to me in, working, as many side gigs and side jobs as possible. And that led me to being able to fund the comic you see before you. So it was kind of a life coach moment, and a desire that wouldn't quit. I had a burning passion, desire to make superhero stories and to bring them to life. And so I finally found a pathway to make that happen.
Very cool. What are you studying? You're an English major, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What, just general English major? Or?
I'm actually, I'm actually studying comics right now a little bit as kind of a focus. I also dip my toe into, Victorian lit here and there and some other boring theoretical garbage.
all that stuff for the non-readers in the chat. Yeah,
including me.
Oh man, I love to read. I love picking up books. I love going into bookstores and libraries and like really old used bookstores where they've got shit stacked to the ceiling and it smells a little musty but still smells like ink and glue. It makes me
sounds
happy.
Gross.
It does sound kind of gross, doesn't it? But yeah, so long as you stay away from the ones that have cats in them, you're all good. Because the cats pee. Anyway.
Huh.
Yeah,
crazy, right? So we have
I lose patience reading it. It takes and this tells you how much of an idiot I am, but it takes a lot of commitment because I don't think I have ADHD, but I do feel like my attention wavers quickly. So I've always felt myself, even in English studies, I've always felt myself attracted to short fiction, and obviously that's why I've gravitated towards comics, because you can digest information so quickly. You can skim read a comic and you can pretty much gain most of what. If you skim read a comic, you can pretty much get everything you want out of it very quickly. And then if you read deeper, you can get more. But I love how quickly information can just, pour into you through a comic page. Whereas if you're just reading prose, it's like it takes commitment.
That's how I read comics, actually. I skim through them first, and let my brain just sort of absorb all the pictures and some of the words, because I read really fast. And then start from the beginning and just dive into it. Yeah, you got to get an idea first, know where you're going. It's probably weird. Most people probably don't do that.
I think a lot of people do it. It's interesting because we talk a lot about comics, but we don't always talk a lot about how we read them. We talk about certain things about them, but the reading of comics is a very interesting process. Even the reading of a page, right? Because when you look at a double page spread, your brain instantly takes in what Terry Gronstein would call the hyperframe, which is, the total double page spread image. And then you start looking at the interrelationships between the panels and so on. So comics on an interesting
and a well-drawn page pulls your eye to all the various parts that you need to see too, that it wants you to see in a specific order before you go back and pick through it too. I think that makes a huge difference.
Yep.
Yeah. Dean's like, I don't even read comics, man.
Yeah, this is lame.
Yeah.
So,
nerds.
What is your favorite comic?
Outside of the one I wrote?
outside of
it.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a hard question.
I ask the tough ones.
I'm a sucker for just actually, I'll probably say something like one of my favorites would probably be Astro City by Kurt Busiek. I loved how he kind of did a lot of metafictional stuff with superheroes that was very interesting, had a lot of depth to it. But ultimately, I like Kurt Busiek because he's doing kind of what Alan Moore does, but he does a lot more positively with a lot more of a uplifting tone. Alan Moore brings kind of psychological realism to superheroes, but it's often very pessimistic because Alan Moore's come right out and said, I'm a pessimist. It's not a stretch to see that. Whereas Kurt Busiek, puts psychological depth into characters and things, but he does it in a much more positive way in a lot of Astro City. And I really appreciated that. So like things like, is it Bronze, Steel Angel? What's the one where it's about the steel jacketed man? It's about a classic supervillain who kind of, is down on his luck and he kind of becomes a hero through the story. It's just a really, really good read.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
Did you draw any inspiration from it?
I wasn't thinking about Astro City when I wrote this. I was thinking more just classic superhero storytelling.
Okay.
So not as much psychological. Actually, I take that back because I think that in later stories, I do bring some of that emotional depth. So even if it's unconscious, I probably was a little inspired by Astro City in some places. And I'll even say that there's going to be some future stories. And Kurt Busiek did this a lot in Astro City, where he would follow something that wasn't the superhero. So he would deliberately take like a civilian and follow them a day in the life. And I've had stories germinating in the back of my head of doing that sort of thing. So yeah, I would say I was influenced by Kurt Busiek and Astro City and stuff. So.
Is there anything that you purposefully drew inspiration from?
Yes. So I, when I was creating this book, and this actually speaks to the page that you have in front of you, my first draft of a superhero story was a very typical kind of like, young mind trying to do imitate what I thought was what you were supposed to do with superheroes. And so I introduced this superhero who's kind of a very Superman-like character. And it took me like 3 or 4 issues. So like 70 pages or so in order to get him into his outfit being the superhero. And that I had this watershed moment where I realized that the reason I was struggling to write that script and the reason I struggled to revise that script was that I was bored by it. And that was a real important moment for me because I realized I'm the author of this story and I'm bored by this. So what I ended up doing is I looked back at the classic, is it Tales of Suspense 39, which is the first appearance of Iron Man? I looked back at some of the classics. You have, Action Comics #1. You have, Detective Comics, whichever one Batman was first introduced. Amazing Fantasy, the teens or whatever that Spider-Man was introduced in. I don't know the exact numbers, but I started looking back at how did the masters that we now look at, how did they introduce these superheroes? And I realized they did it very quickly. They didn't wait 6 issues to give me the origin story of a superhero. They were like, hey, this guy's got spider powers. I'm going to show you in 6 pages how he got them. And then you're going to want to watch his adventures with those powers, right? And it's like, yeah. So I was like, oh, that's how you do it. That's how you introduce a new superhero. So I kind of like drew from some of the origins. And I think there's some strengths and weaknesses to that approach. But that's what I largely drew from. I went back to that. And I realized that the reason why people will watch a full movie of an origin story of Joker is because they're already interested in Joker as a character for like decades. Mm-hmm. If Joker had been introduced,
with his origin story, that's what I was thinking. That because I was like people will want to know the origins later, but they're not gonna want to, a fleshed out origin story at the beginning, right? Like,
that's my approach. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, that's my opinion too.
Yes, so Fantastic Four, a lot of these older classics, they get the origin story. If sometimes like with Batman, they just like the origin story came later. But even for the other heroes, like they did the origin story very quickly within like 4 to 6 pages or something, and then just like, or it was the first issue story, and then they just jump right into it. So that's what I decided. I definitely pulled from that in this first issue.
Yeah. Now, getting a little off of comic questions, what are some other forms of media that like you enjoy? like TV shows or
Video games. Yeah. So that this is an image from the City of Heroes video game. This is Omega Girl in City of Heroes. And so, like I said, I'm a bit of a gamer. So I definitely enjoy some games.
What are some of your favorites that aren't like super well-known games?
I am a sucker. I don't know if anyone knows it. It's called Spelunky.
Nope.
It is it's a procedural roguelike game. So it's about cave diving, and it's this little cartoony character, but it's extremely hard. I play like some of those Nintendo hard games, so like Dark Souls, and stuff like that. But I really got addicted to this game called Spelunky, and the game procedurally generates like every time you play a run. And so like you're constantly, it's always changing, and it's got a little bit of platforming, a little bit of puzzles. It's got just a little bit of everything that I like, a little bit of action, just a little bit of RPG mechanics. So when I was really, really busy with grad studies last semester, in my downtime, which I did not have a lot of, I would play a few rounds of Spelunky to pass the time.
Yes.
That got me through some stressful moments.
See, games like that just get me more stressed.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm trying to relax. I'm not trying to get mad
Yeah.
at life.
My brain works backwards in a lot of ways. Things that like stress out other people, I'm like, that's great, I love it. And then things that like are really normal to people, like, you know, talking to other human beings, I go, no, I'm stressed, I'm drained, I can't do that.
Yet here you are.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I used to see you quite a bit, and then didn't see you for a while, and then suddenly you were back on live streams. And was that just because you were coming out with the book that you sort of came back out, or?
That was part of it. I also had more free time. I went back to do some more grad studies and work and stuff, and my free time evaporated because I was doing so much material. I just didn't have the time. It's also I find certain things to be emotionally draining. Again, live streams are very emotionally draining for me. So
live streams with Vicky are
Yeah,
draining for me.
it's me. I'm like a vampire,
just sucking all the life.
just sucking it right out of him. Yeah, he's already aging tremendously, and it's only because of me.
Exactly.
So why did you choose to go ahead and self-fund instead of, say, crowdfund?
Okay, so a couple of reasons for that. I lurk a lot, and I try to learn from not just my own mistakes. I try to learn from other people's mistakes. And I saw a lot of the crowdfunds, have problems and fail in a lot of ways. And, it's been caused a lot of drama and a lot of content for people to talk about. And I didn't want to run into those problems. And I needed to prove to myself and prove to potential audience customers that I could do this. And more importantly, that I needed to prove to myself that I could do it. And in addition to that, it gives me a lot of power and control, because I'm beholden to really no one except for myself. I can do this, as long as I can fund it and create the comic, I can put it out, whether or not people like it or not. Now, I want people to like it. But it's very empowering and liberating, because I don't have that. I've talked to some people, who have, one person that comes to mind who had a crowdfund and, had some problems with that. And I could just see it weighing on him. And it's like, that sucks to have certain things weigh on you. And like I said, this is like, it's been a very empowering experience for me. But there's just so many lessons I had to learn. When I put together this book, I had to learn how to assemble a team, how to work together with people. There was a lot of just things you can't learn from a book. You just have to do them yourself when you're coordinating stuff. Hey, I need to do this page. I need to get this art style. I need to give this feedback. I need to figure out a communication loop, a workflow. I need to learn how to use Adobe Illustrator so I can put this stuff together. And it took me about 2 years to put all this together. But it wasn't like I put a crowdfund and then the 2 years happened and then people were tapping their feet waiting. So I feel like by me doing it this way, I've been able to sidestep some of the problems that other people have. Because I think it does take a couple of years when you're new to this type of production. I think it takes a while, especially if you're assembling it like I'm doing. If you're just like drawing it yourself, you can kind of just whip it out. in some ways, especially if you have the experience to it.
I whip it out all the time.
There you go. Yeah. Right on the live stream.
Thank God he's not doing it.
That's why I'm not on camera anymore.
It's just
yeah, we couldn't trust him with it. God, Dean, you totally derailed Twitless.
I did. I'm sorry.
Look at the poor man now.
No, I was just trying to think. I'm like, if you whip it out, is like, do I need a microscope or a camera to see, or?
I mean, I don't think a microscope is gonna help.
Okay.
Especially with like through the computer. It's don't worry. It's if I happen to be on camera,
can you describe
it? See it anyways.
Describe it in detail so I can have a good mental picture.
Gross.
Please don't.
Gross.
Don't. I don't want to know.
Incredibly veiny.
Is it like an echidna's where it's got like the barbs that go and never mind. Okay.
What?
This took a turn.
Yeah, because it is much different when you're a writer versus when you're like the artist. The artist writer creator combo. Because you have to find your artists and do all that other stuff. Am I like? I feel like I'm not saying, like, nobody can hear me.
No, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure my computer wasn't doing that thing again.
No, it's a problem how much we can hear you.
Thank you, Dean. I love you. I've been watching that happen with people because I know quite a few writers who then have to hire artists and try to put the book together as they have envisioned it in their heads as they're writing it. Did you find that getting to the point where what you saw in your head was what you were what was coming out on the page?
There were some very interesting lessons I learned about that. First off, I always like to say that if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because I had like nothing, I was just a dream and the persistence and the ability to work harder and to save money with a separate bank account, basically. And I just put the money in there until I had enough to start hiring people. So, but the lessons I had to learn, there's some artwork that'll show up in issue 2, but I ended up not pursuing him for other projects. And this also plays into why some of the stories are shorter. And some of them are longer. Like I said, in issue 1, we have a couple 4-page stories and then a longer 12-page one. But I needed to test out the artist because I needed to figure out if it was going to work. Because there will be people who say, "Oh, I want to do a comic. Oh, hire me to do a comic." And then you start working with them and it takes them like 3 months to deliver 4 pages to you. And you go, "There's no way we can work together in a long extended partnership, because if you do 1 page a month, it's going to take me 2 years to get a book out." So the first person I worked with, like, I had problems with workflow and I had problems with communication. Sometimes you're dealing with language barriers and you're like, you say, "Hey, this is what I want." And the other person says, yeah. And you go, "Do you mean that? Are we actually communicating properly?" So I test drove my artists on like 4-page stories. Because it's like, if you can get me 4 pages, get it quickly, and I'm happy with it, then I can definitely work with you on longer pieces. And so I definitely had to learn how to find a good workflow and to find good communication. And so I'm actually working with someone my artist is from the States. His name is Brian Brindley. He has a web comic that he does on Webtoons when he's not working on this and other things. But my colorist named Fabri, he's in Indonesia, but he speaks very good English and communicates very well. Really great guy. And so the communication, like us being on the same page with things, and I regularly like to talk to, especially my line artists, to say, "Hey, this is what I have in mind." And so just having those, sit down talks where we just talk on Skype. And I say, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking. Do you have any questions about the script? What are you thinking? Do you have any ideas that are better than mine? Because you're an artist and, I have a thing that I see in my head. But if you have a better image, then I'm definitely going to go for that because you're the artist. As long as it tells the story I want to tell, I'm going to be happy." So that was definitely a process.
You said it was 3 stories, the first issue?
4.
Right? 4. Mm-hmm. This guy to me looks like Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yep.
Okay, I
That
just
was
wanted to make sure that was the goal. I didn't want to be like, oh shit, Twitless, man,
No, he's my OC. Do not steal. Original the character.
But I just wanted to make sure that was like, that was the goal. Okay,
No,
I feel much better.
No, it was super. Like I have some reference pics, and it's Randy Savage.
I'm not even sure Dean knows who we're talking about.
No, I know Macho Man Randy Savage.
Come on, yeah.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Right, I was like, yeah, you can't. Like, if you're gonna know anyone from wrestling, because I didn't really watch wrestling, I know I had one of those like pillow buddies of Macho Man. Anyone remember those?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. They had Hulk Hogan ones too, I think.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, and you could like, it was weird. It was like a stuffed toy for boys, and it's like wrestle with them, but they're also pillows and cuddly. It was a very strange Venn diagram of toy manufacture.
It was.
I think it was actually meant for housewives.
Oh shit!
Just gonna put that out there.
I can't speak to that, but I don't know if I'd be surprised. Lord Nature had the same one. Yeah.
Sinatra had the same pillow.
We can be pillow buddies.
Oh, no.
No homo.
Oh, goodness. I had another question, and now my brain is just like totally fried out. Dean, do some work here.
Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah,
coming, guys.
It's been a great stream.
What are well, because we've kind of I have a question, and it's what are some of the challenges? But you've kind of gone over, that question without me asking it, so I don't really appreciate that, Twitless. Wait till I ask the questions before you give answers.
Sorry.
No, you.
I was that kid in school. Everyone hated me.
Makes sense. I could see that. No, I'm joking.
God, he's using past tense like he's not still Twitless. Just kidding, honey.
No, they still hate me to this day. I mean, I'm not. Nothing has changed.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Other than Omega Girl, who's your favorite superhero? Of all time.
Dr. Doom, no question, hands down.
I don't think he counts as a superhero.
Oh, he does. He saved the Marvel universe like a half dozen times by himself.
Okay. I mean, I guess okay, but like good guy superhero then.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I assume that you mean Miles Morales, obviously. How do you feel about Miles Morales?
I feel like this is a trap.
No trick questions.
Okay. I think he's a gimmick. And I think that it would have been far better if they had just made another character, because I hate the whole, like, he's the exact same character, but he's just a different race. I just, there are a lot of, like, Black Panther's neat because, like, he's definitely very much an ethnic, African superhero, but he's very much his own thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could see that, but, I mean, from the way that it's been explained to me is that, like, Miles does have his own, character, and, like, it's not like he's just a different race Peter Parker, and then that's it. Like, there's struggles that he has to go through, that do involve his race. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's, they're just like, it's not like it's Black Wally West. You see what, like...
They've done more with it, but again, at the core, the character is just Black Spider-Man. And it's just... I just wish they had done something else. Because I feel like because I think people have resonated with his personhood. And that's great. I just wish that it wasn't attached to Spider-Man. I wish it was just attached to like some other character.
Well,
it just
there's, like,
feels,
a pretty-
it feels gimmicky.
There's a
because of
pretty
that.
interesting thing though with like Miles, where like he's trying to be Spider-Man and nobody's really liking it. And then I think it's like Nick Fury tells him like yo, they need time. Like their best friend essentially died, like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like
Yeah,
give
but that
him
was
time.
that's in the Ultimate Universe though. Like in the mainstream one, which he then got like ported to in some weird interdimensional nonsense. We have Spider-Man, so now we just have 2 of them, and it's just like, okay, this is redundant.
Yeah.
And then we have like Gwen Stacy, except it not aged right correctly, and now it's just a mess. Now we have Spider-Verse, and I hate that. I just I hate Spider-Verse. It drives me nuts. Sorry, if you like Spider-Verse, that you're in, go ahead, but I hate it.
How do you feel about Ben Reilly?
He became the Jackal. They've done some really interesting stuff with him. Like he's like completely taken on new identities. Like they've really like run off with him. He's like, he could be his own thing. Like the whole Clone Wars saga is like ridiculous, but
I heard that like Clone Wars saga was good and then just got bad, but then ended on like a it could be going somewhere kind of cool, and then just never went anywhere.
That sounds like most comic books.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't go anywhere.
That's right. So tell us, back to Omega Girl, since we uncovered. What is her origin story?
So Amanda Shields is very much a paragon superhero, and she, is a young woman committed to justice, and she is one of the pages that we saw. She takes a stand against the criminal organization Jackal, which is they're a little bit like Hydra. They're kind of super science related, and very much about the sort of like survival of the fittest, dog eat dog world kind of philosophy. And so they have this technology called neo-humans, which is able to kind of make super powered people. And she tries to stop a bank robbery against a guy called Disasternaut. That's my OC, Do Not Steal. But he blasts her with like a disintegration ray, and she basically is about to die. And then the character who becomes her mentor, steps in and gives her omega particle therapy, which is tied to this thing we have in our lore. Omega particles are kind of like a life positive energy that kind of are associated with all living things. And Dr. Kisaragi is able to use them to heal people, but Amanda is very different. She has like a 100% absorption rate of those particles, and she's able to not only be healed, but she gains, strength and flight and, invulnerability and some other powers as well, and becomes the invincible Omega Girl. So that's kind of her. That's in brief her origin story, and she fights the forces of Jackal and anything else that threatens the sci-fi utopia, the would-be utopia, Angel City. So.
With her secret identity, or
yes.
Yes, of course.
Yep.
Got to have that conflict, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. We're gonna play into that in a little bit.
Yeah. And if you guys didn't know, because I didn't know until today, Twitless has a webcomic. Yeah, I didn't know until right before the show. Thanks for springing that one on me, Twitless.
Whoops, I forgot about it. Oh, wait a minute. I have a webcomic. I've written 400 strips.
I don't think you've ever mentioned it. Like,
oh, yeah, I've mentioned it.
Have you?
Uh-huh.
Are you mentioned?
Yeah, but obviously... This shows how boring I am, because no one listens when I talk. the amount of times I've said I have a strip, I have a webcomic, I've written 400 strips, and everyone's like, gong, get rid of this guy.
Yeah, they'd rather just tell you to shut up.
Yeah.
That's
why I'm arranging these captive audiences.
Everybody needs it. Everybody needs a catchphrase.
You're trapped in here with me. I'm quoting Rorschach.
That's fucking great. So, what do you say to like critics that might say no one likes women superheroes. Women don't even want to be saved by women. I think that's unfair. I like women superheroes, but what would you say to critics like that?
I say that you're missing out a little bit because women are really pretty, and so they can do all the superhero stuff and look really great doing it.
I agree.
So, and in addition to that, I think it's also about the tone of the character. So I've worked very hard to make Omega Girl a paragon superhero who's very strong and powerful, but also graceful and redemptive, and not the type of like Korra, I'm the Avatar, you got to deal with it kind of nonsense. Because I think what people don't like is a superhero that talks down to you. And I think it's especially frustrating for guys to read a medium that's been more or less created and sustained by young men to then have a superhero woman lecture down to them. Even when Wonder Woman was introduced by Marston, who actually created Wonder Woman as a feminist piece of propaganda to win over young men, he was like, from what I understand, he wanted to win them over with her charm, not with now. And like I said, Wonder Woman is like super feminist, but when she was first introduced, it was supposed to be, I'm going to lure men over with how charming and beautiful she is, and then we'll slowly inculcate them with feminism. It wasn't what we have today, which is Wonder Woman's just like, are you mansplaining to me, and then like punch him in the face. So it's just interesting how even back when they wanted to make feminist propaganda superheroes, it was like they knew they needed to have some subtlety to it, or else the boys wouldn't the hook wouldn't take.
Scolds don't aren't exactly sexy. I Wonder Woman's one of my favorite comic heroes. Mainly because in the early days she was just she was hot, she was sexy, but she wasn't, like, I guess what we would call woke, even though she was, like you said, a very feminist character.
So
I
think you can have a female superheroes and have them be very attractive to male readers. I think it's about how you write them, and I think that it's the tone and the attitude. And I learned a lot of this from role playing as well, because if you're going to be a good role player, you need to be able to be creative. Otherwise, it just becomes I'm invincible. Well, I have invincible penetrating bullets, and then I
take off your clothes slowly.
Right? Exactly. And then it just becomes a mess. If you want to actually have a good story in a role play session, and this goes for Dungeons and Dragons as well, you have to be creative. You have to work with limitations and have cool interactions between things. And when you interact with someone who's just like, "You're stupid, I laugh at you, ha 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 ha," it's like, there's only so much of that you can be around before you just go, and I'm done. So when I see people write superhero characters that way, it's like, you clearly have never played enough. You've never been a part of a good role-playing group if that's how you write characters, because that's no one likes a character who's just like that for very long. It's irritating.
Yeah.
And I think that's my problem with how Harley Quinn is often written. It's just like, ha ha ha, tee hee hee, I'm manic pixie dream girl, and also I'm invincible to Johnny Sorrow's like Cthulhu stare. It's like, yeah, sure, that works.
Yeah. How do you feel about Superman?
I think he can be really great when he's in the hands of a good writer. When he's in the hands of a good writer. You're just trying to bait me with all these like racial gotchas. Where are you posting this to? What are you saying?
Just having fun.
I'm not ignoring the chat. I've been posting in chat.
Yeah, well, Testify I don't see him here, right? Oh my god, they're talking about comics. Testify is nowhere near here.
No, he's here. The Alien Xenomorph. Yeah.
This is Matt Barr says, describe your version of Harley Quinn.
Probably the original from Batman the Animated Series. I think she was really great in that. I think she had a good balance of being threatening, interesting, damaged,
and beaten.
But I mean, I felt like she walked a fine. She was interesting, and also the costume actually fit the Harlequin persona. When she just became a trashy goth girl, that was just bait for Hot Topic.
Yes, I haven't seen I haven't seen Birds of Prey. I
wasn't interested.
I couldn't do it. It sat there, like every time I turned on HBO, there it was, and I'm like, I can't watch that shit. No. It was like, HBO was trying really hard. They're like, look at all these other movies you've watched. You want to watch this one too. And I haven't read much of it. Then there's that other show too with her that's just like ultra woke, super violent, super violent. Like,
yeah, there are some clips of that are funny. I think it's one of those shows. I've not watched it, but I think I have this feeling because there are certain shows where you watch like a clip compilation and you go, wow, this is great. This show must be amazing. And then you watch the actual show from beginning to end and you go, this is crap. The only thing that was good was the best moments clip compilation. And I have this sneaking suspicion that might be the case with the Harley Quinn show. That's great if you watch someone who has created a curated best moments clip compilation. But I'm wondering, I wonder if it's like terrible if you just watch the whole thing straight through.
Well, what they tend to do with the TVs and the movies now is like the female characters are, it's like they overcompensate and make them even more violent than they have to be, because they're just as good as the men or whatever kind of thing, or better than, or they can surpass them in all of these things, and I just don't like it at all.
There's this hilarious clip though of Joker saying, "Where's my electric car, Bruce?" And that's a great meme. And again, it's just this little clip of Joker saying, because it's when he finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and he's like, I bought into your electric car. Where's my electric car, Bruce? And it's a funny moment, and it's like when you see clips like that, you're like, oh, this is funny. I bet you this show would be great. And I'm like, I think it's probably just the clips.
Yeah,
it's the same with those Spider-Man memes from like the old cartoon. It's like the old cartoon really isn't that interesting or deep. But those memes are fucking fire.
Right, yeah. You mean like pointing at himself?
Yeah. There's a bunch like that, yeah.
But you got to hear that theme song every afternoon, right? The Spider-Man theme song.
Like if
you're
80. If you're 80.
Yeah.
Good one, Twitless. Fuck you, Vicky.
Hey, I'm old. I admit to being old. I don't pretend, I'm not sitting here pretending that I'm, not ancient.
See, when you said the theme, I was thinking like the 90s one that's like Spider-Man.
No, like from the early 80s. Think back to the 80s, when it was on television, and it was like poppy and quick.
Were you thinking Spider-Man Unlimited?
I don't remember which one.
No, Twitless.
No, I'm thinking the one from like the 90s.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the 90s one. Back with like they had the crossovers with the 90s X-Men cartoon and the Fantastic Four cartoon.
Yeah.
They basically
the way
had.
You said it made it sound like do you remember Spider-Man Unlimited? It's like I think it takes place after the 90s one.
You mean
where he gets transferred to the other like universe, and it's like
oh yeah, okay, yeah. That's that. I think
Spider-Man.
That's the same. That's like the same. I think they use some of the same theme song stuff because it's like a sort of a quasi sequel to that one.
Yeah, exactly. It is the same theme song, but it's all like weird electro.
Right. Yeah. I was trying to capture that, and it wrecked my my vocal cords. I can't talk anymore.
If anybody in the chat has any questions for Twitless about the book that don't revolve around getting a review copy, we'd be happy to field them. But Ahmed said he was actually going to pay for it.
We should drop the link in the chat.
Yeah, I'm very happy to answer questions.
We should have people come in and ask.
We can do that. Give me just a second.
I'm gonna take another swig of water because I just wrecked my voice with that.
Yeah. Spider-Man Unlimited was fucking weird. That was a weird one. It wasn't a very good sequel series.
Yeah, but because it's so weird, it ends up being really charming in a way, because you just
I watched a shit ton of it, but it was
because they have like the weird the weird design. I think it's a Carnage. He ends up just looking like a freaking skeleton.
Yeah, that was
and like
cool.
they were able to amp up like the horror side of Carnage, which is where he tends to be the coolest. Carnage is an interesting character. I came up with this weird theory of that I think that Carnage on paper is more unique than he can only really exist, I think, on the comics page.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like a living ink blot.
Yeah.
Hello, Amit.
Yo.
Hello, everyone. Twitless, I have one question for your comic.
Hit me.
Is the first, I guess the first part of your thing, is it an origin story or do we get dropped right into the action?
The first story is a 4-page origin story. So I do hit you with the origin, but it's very quick. And then it's right into the action.
Okay, so it's like a little bit of origin and then the first adventure, I guess, or something.
Pretty much. And then the second and third. But yeah, I wanted to give you just enough of an origin story for you to kind of go, okay, that's where that's where she gets her powers, and then we can explore more of it in depth if people are interested in that sort of thing. But
and is your heroine is it going to be like a heroic story or is it going to be like a tragedy where whatever she does, she fails, but she keeps going on?
It's going to start off definitely much more on the heroic side, but we're going to start challenging her later on with some tragedy, and that's going to challenge her worldview. But it's not going to be. It's definitely going to have a more positive outlook in a lot of ways. I'm channeling the superhero adventure fun, so that even when she has the dark moments where she even maybe questions things, she's going to fight for the better future. She's very committed to that.
Now the important question. Will we see this book in Walmart by any chance?
So I know Mitch gets a lot of heat for that. I would love a Walmart deal. I would just try to finagle it so that it's near the candy bars and not in the back near the bathrooms. But apparently you have to pay top dollar to get near the Archie books. But I would love to get my book into, stores where everyone goes and shops. I think there's some lessons to learn about how to do that well, and definitely in a way to do it where you don't shaft your backers, which I think was the major mistake.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the major mistake was also kind of not doing well with Walmart, as far as getting the books to them. You don't burn a bridge and then also fuck up with the other bridge that I don't know. You get what I'm saying.
Are you saying you should not burn a bridge when you've not exactly built the other bridge on the way?
No, I'm saying that if you're gonna burn a bridge to build the other one, maybe make sure that you don't fuck up that other one also. But yeah, also don't burn a bridge just to build another one. But if you do, make sure that you're super solid on that other one.
Or you could just not burn the bridge to begin with. That might be
yeah.
Okay. I mean, that would be a solution.
Right.
But if you do, by chance,
isn't Mitch gonna do another story, like crowdfund another story? I heard that. Is that true, or is that
probably?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Ooh, I wonder how much he will get.
Yo, what's up, Tats?
Well, I know one thing. Whatever happens, he will do more than Nasser for sure.
And before you ask for the review copy, the digital download is only $1.99 on Indie Planet.
No, I'm gonna pay the $5. I'm gonna go all out for 12.
Yeah, it's full. It's $3.99 for the print version.
Well, I'm guessing shipping is gonna cost some money.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's what it.
If Indie Planet won't ship to you, we can you can send me a message on it, and we can maybe try to come to an arrangement where I get. I'm going to order some physical copies, a good chunk of them for my own purposes, and I can try to ship one to you, and we can maybe figure out how to arrange that.
Yeah, that's pretty far to
Yeah,
go.
we'll come to an understanding.
Okay.
Wow, Amit's gonna buy a book. That's so exciting.
I'm excited.
I've never heard Amit say that before.
I feel special.
Well, I mean, Twitless is somebody who I've been supporting since he used to get one view on his channel. So,
and now I
and
get
I was the
3.
only one watching it. I was
Yeah,
the
now
only
it's
one
just
watching.
Amit and then Amit reviewing the like stream later on, and maybe Twitless watching his own video.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have one video that has like 10,000 views. So like I'm in the 10th, like the 9,000, 10,000 view club. So get on my
pretty
level.
I'm pretty close to that on my Yellow Flash 2 Electric Boogaloo video.
That still shows up in my feed. Like it still
Dude,
shows up on my
it's
homepage all the time.
one of my most watched videos every month to this day. I get like 3 comments on it every day.
Wow.
And it's like a year old.
Are you not going to go down the Amber Heard route, Dean? You know, I heard that you get a lot of views if you just put her name in videos.
Well, you know, there is a huge bombshell. Breaking news. Amber Heard, I don't know, something dumb.
Something. ACLU, something investigation, something.
Drop
something
the link in the
indictment.
chat again. People get on, ask Twitless your questions. Not face to face, but voice to voice. You can look in his eyes while you ask the question, though. He is on screen.
Look into my beautiful Puerto Rican eyes.
He does like to role play, so you know.
Whatever Amber Heard video you make, at the end of it, just right over at the end of Amber Heard's video, you know, or finished.
And we'll start it with a "Hey there."
Hey there.
But yeah, I had another question though, actually, and now I can, and once again, it's gone.
Wow, you're just
Hey,
the worst at
are you just getting lost?
I know.
In my wonderful living space.
No, she's
Your
lying.
living
She didn't
space
have
is
a question at
beautiful.
all. She's just saying she did.
So
Look at that.
my wife really doesn't want to be a part of the whole streaming world, but I told her the other day that I kept getting compliments about my living space, even if they were backhanded compliments. And she started like tidying the place up before I would stream because she's like, "Ooh, people are commenting."
Can you make Twitless large so we can see his furniture? It's really nice furniture.
Make Twitless large.
You double click on him, I think.
I know.
Well, you're not doing it, Vicky.
Well, god damn it, Dean.
I'm sorry about this. Oh, no, wrong person, Vicky. That's you. Nobody wanted to see you that big.
It's been a long day. I got 4 hours of fucking sleep.
Oh,
no, I can't make Twitless large.
You can press on him, and there should, yeah.
There we go.
Now see that. Such nice furniture he has.
My wife actually, because those chairs were they were covered with this like velveteen or something. It was just green. It was ugly, and she stripped it and then she reupholstered them. So she's very very good at that sort of thing.
Handy to have around.
Yep.
I know. And, yeah, Matt's liking your fireplace.
She did a very good job on that. But then when I start saying, "Here's my wall of comics," you know, and she's like, "We'll put you in a closet somewhere."
Oh, that sucks. God, my parents, it was funny. My dad always had his den and my mom always had her room, right? So my dad could do whatever he wanted. You know, his den was just like books and smelled like pipes and, you know, and then my mom had her little craft sewing room. That's what every married couple needs.
Right. So I
gotta
insisted.
jump off.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll talk to you later.
Thanks,
Good
Amit.
talk to you, Amit. Come on stream, talk to me. There's no way people are intimidated by me. That can't be it.
No.
Yeah, Quaff, why don't you hop on the stream and ask questions to Twitless or just talk?
We can compare our living spaces and talk about your closet. Apparently, that's what I heard was the big thing, was to bother Quaff about his quaslet.
His quaslet?
I don't know what my brain did there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, it's 11:30. You know, after an hour, my brain kind of starts to fry doing this. So, I think we're all good. Thank you so much for joining us, Twitless.
My pleasure.
Once again, the link to the Adventures of Omega Girl issue 1 is in the description, as well as the link to your webcomic, Super Schooled.
Well, I'm noticing the time. We have to hit at least an hour. I'm not going to be the guy who only has a 55-minute.
I agree.
Oh, not the 55-minute.
Hey, Cider,
Oh,
you
that's
come
going to
on
make
for
me
the
look.
last 5 minutes.
That's going to make me look bad.
no, not at all.
Join us, Cider.
So.
You got 4 minutes, motherfucker. Actually, I haven't seen or heard from Cider in like a while.
He did a brief little stint on a JDA today.
Oh, nice.
Oh, is JDA live?
Yeah, JDA came back from Disney World. It was him and the Comic Book Hut and Testify for a while there.
That's an interesting group of
Yeah. Comic
Okay.
Book Hut.
Okay.
Yeah, the man who has everybody under the sun blocked was streaming with Testify. I know. And then Ray.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's the
Interesting.
craziest shit.
He doesn't have me blocked.
Oh, are you going to be doing You're going to be doing the Red Rooster review with Well Read, right? Is that scheduled yet?
I don't know. Yeah, as soon as they schedule it, I'm definitely want to be on it because I've put some thought into my Red Rooster thoughts, so I definitely want to share them with more than 4 people.
Right. Yeah. Let me go ahead and find the beginning of this slideshow here. Matt wants to see we had request for more seeing the art again, so I'm going to go ahead
I'm
and
down with
share
that.
Let's see, window. As my bladder tries to explode.
Come on, Vicky.
I'm
Get it
sorry.
done. I'm so sorry about this, Twitless.
That's
I
okay.
know. I know. It's Dean's fault though. He kept me up all night.
Not in a sexual way.
Not in that kind of
I
way.
don't hate myself that much, guys.
Oh, were you guys role playing? Were you guys role playing?
I only roleplay with you, Twitless.
That's
No, the
fine.
art is really good.
We keep those
like the
DMs
art.
quiet.
I do like the art.
Thank you. Yeah, my artist Brian does a great job, and it's just seeing it come to life has just been a pleasure and a joy.
Yeah.
I like all the
also
really
no fat chicks. That's what's up, Twitless. Good job.
I like the really soft colors too.
My colors is amazing. That was a really good find, and it was really interesting because I had a colorist, and then that kind of dropped out, and then I was looking through. There's a really, if you're looking for to get into comic book creation, there's a really good. I can tell you a little bit about that because I did a lot of looking. I started off on looking at DeviantArt for people, and that was the most disappointing place to look because a lot of people who had art that I liked were not active, and the couple of people that were active were not interested in doing sequentials because that's a big difference between when you're making comics. Huge difference between someone who can do a single pretty image like Art Germ, right? Anyone know Art Germ?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Art
Germ does beautiful artwork. But if he were to do a comic, he would either have to change his art style or he'd make like one issue in his lifetime, with the amount of like effort that probably goes into and time that goes into those things. So getting sequentials is about, if you compare it, right, the difference between getting one picture or like 120. Because if you have like a 24-page comic and you're averaging 5 panels per page, each one of those panels is its own picture. So you need someone who can draw like 120 pictures. And that's a different art skill, a set of skills. And so there are people who think they want to be comic book artists, but really don't. They want to draw Spider-Man one time and not 120 times. So you need to find someone who's a little crazy, who's willing to do the other thing. And so, like I said, struck out on DeviantArt. And there was one guy, he was just crazy. He did really good art. And I asked him about it. He said, oh, I would charge by, he didn't charge a page rate. He was going to charge an hourly rate. And we ran the numbers. He was going to charge like $1,200 a page. And I went,
oh no,
you don't really want to work in comics, do you? Because that's not how any of this math works. So then I went to a Reddit group that had to do with connecting people. And I found some people, but again, there was a lot of, just struck out a little there too. But I finally found this Facebook group called Connecting Artists and Writers. It's got a whole bunch of people who are constantly soliciting their work as anything: writer, editor, letterers, inkers, colorists, everything. And there's a huge variety in the budgets that they offer. Some people will offer work for, 100 plus per page. Some people working at different skill levels will offer for less. So if you're looking to get into comics, I highly recommend taking a look at that Facebook group and just, scrolling through it. It takes some time to read through and to find someone who you could potentially work with, but it's been very fruitful for me. And but it does take a lot of time even to look through that. And when I was looking for a colorist, I was like, oh, here we go, because it had taken me weeks to scroll through those feeds and look through portfolios of artwork. And Fabry had just posted, and I looked at it and I was like, could I be so lucky? This coloring looks great. And I had a misunderstanding about what kind of coloring would work well with my artwork. I thought I wanted cell shading, and I kept on asking for it, and it didn't look good. And there's like one Omega Girl story that ended up being a little cell shaded. It just doesn't look quite the way I want it to. So I forgot to ask Fabry to do cell shading. He just did what he thought looked good, and he made this page, and I went, oh, yes, let's work together. I love this. This looks like a real comic book. Quaff says he's part of that group. Yeah, it's a good group. It's an excellent group for people who want to really, get into making comic books. It's what the group that's worked the best for me in connecting, me with people. And like I said, lots of different, there's something for everyone. So like I said, excellent group. You just have to be able to, scroll through it and have patience.
Well, no, that sounds like a good group.
Yeah, I really like the palette and just the way like how soft everything looks.
Yeah, I like that it kind of looks like a older comic also.
Thank you.
Yeah, it has a real retro kind of feel to it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're also trying to channel just a little bit of an Eastern flair. I read a lot of manga, and I try to put little manga influences where I can, because Angel City, where the setting is a city that's been kind of built by Western and Eastern influences both. So the city kind of has this, very sci-fi-ish feel, which my artist likes to. He hates drawing plain old buildings, so it was a really good matchup because I said, I want irregular looking cool buildings. You don't have to draw regular, rectangles all over the place. So that worked out well. Yeah. Cider Hype says, connecting artists and writers, is this an Australian dating site? No, it's connecting autists and writers.
Dude, I was gonna make that same joke.
Sorry.
No, that's funny.
I'm just kidding.
I just thought it was too spicy, so thanks for taking the heat for me.
I'm just kidding.
No, he's not.
That's why Twitless is here. Twitless always makes the spicy jokes.
Wait.
Yeah, you do. You do. You just do it in this sort of deadpan way. Yeah.
Let's see here. Matt Cider Hype says, honestly, it comes down to the project for coloring. I find that colorists like artists have styles that suit different storytelling. Yes, this is very accurate. That was one of the main lessons I had to learn, which is the fact that a particular coloring style will pair like a fine wine very much to a particular line art style and not to another one. So like I said, you're dealing with something like cell shading. Cell shading works very well with a particular type of line. I had some artists talk to me about what lines work, and it has to be like really thick lines apparently. And if you don't have super thick lines of a particular type, cell shading ends up looking like a coloring book. It does
Yeah.
not look good. And for the line artist I have, his artwork really shines when you're using kind of a blend of some different coloring renders. Because I've asked for Bree kind of what renders he uses. He uses a little bit of airbrushing and some other techniques. He kind of has his own little alchemical mix that he just kind of blends together to make it look good. And he's a bit of a wizard, so I just say, okay, you just make it look pretty, and I just sign off on it and give little bits of feedback when I deem it appropriate. But yeah, it's so interesting because line art is its own field of things, and but once you mix coloring in, it's an entirely new world. And when I learned about how many shades of blue go into dark navy, I about lost my mind because I was like, there's like 12 different shades of blue that are in that dark blue because of how like lighting and shading work. And I was just like, my brain can't process this whole new dangerous world of coloring. I can't handle it.
It's just way too much.
It's so much complexity. That's why you need someone who has an eye for it, someone who knows even intuitively what's going to make it look good. Cause I'm just like, duh. It was crazy. Oh, Tim Lynn's in chat. How's it going, bud?
Yeah, congratulations on a beautifully, wildly successful campaign there, Tim. And it just started, which is even better.
Tim, succeed again.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's like
What?
this is just becoming old news. It's not a surprise anymore, man.
See, this just means Omega Girl needs a bunny, apparently.
You took Trump's words of we're gonna win and we're gonna keep winning so much that you're gonna get sick of winning.
I'm tired of Tim winning. He fills up my by the way, Tim, if you want to hop on and ask me a question about my book or just say hey, I'd love to say hey to you. But Tim, I'm always like, and was it I think Brian Ball said the exact same thing, but like there's this like inner jealousy of just how well Tim's been doing with his books, because it just fills my Twitter feed. I'm just like, curse you, Superman. I feel like freaking Lex Luthor in my skyscraper, just brooding as Superman runs around saving the day 100 times and everyone's cheering for him, and I'm just like, he's showing me up.
I thought the voice was like Skeletor. I got very confused for a second.
I'll get you, Superman!
Hey, man! That's you! Oh, man.
I actually did I don't know, this is probably a weird time to bring this up. I actually did and I showed this during my launch stream. I did a 2-minute old-timey radio spot for Omega Girl, and I did all the voice acting, and I made it sound like an old 1930s radio bit. So, and that's I need to publish that in video form, but I have this whole Audacity file thing I made, and it's me putting on this old time radio voice that I can do. So
put it up on your YouTube.
Yeah, since it's an audio file, I have to actually go into, I have to do the work of putting like an image on it, and it's going to take some time, and I'm lazy.
No, you should do it with the camera. Make like it all black and white. Put some some
That's
grain.
a good idea. Yeah, putting it grainy.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of effort. And
I can do that editing for you really fast. I use
really?
DaVinci Resolve, so I can make it black and white and put like the old film effect to it.
Oh,
like,
really?
Super
Okay.
fast. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
We can work that out after.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Yeah.
Vicky really wants a cigarette and wants to pee.
Vicky really wants to go pee. No offense to everybody in the chat. But thank you, Twitless. This was really fun.
Yes, I've had a great time.
Yeah. Getting to see your art, and of course links everywhere. They're in the chat, they're in the description. It is $1.99 for the digital and just $3 for the physical? Is that right? $3.99.
$3.99. Yeah, I made it.
That is a crazy good price.
And it's print on demand.
I make like nothing off it.
Oh,
So
I might have to.
But it's like a work of love.
It is definitely.
Yeah.
Matt, how's it going?
well, hello, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
I think he's here somewhere.
Just sitting here watching. Yeah. What's
Yeah.
good, buddy? I
Hey.
like your stuff, man. I'm watching.
Thank you.
should
Thank
just
you.
hop on and start asking questions. Rapid questions. Lots of questions.
Go ahead. Or do I have to ask questions of myself, or who's asking who questions? I'm lost.
Twitless can actually ask his own questions, which is, kind of creepy.
I'm hearing like a.
Are you still watching this stream?
Yeah, if you have the stream up, you'll hear like a weird echo.
Yeah, it's
like
like
the
radio
delay.
when you call in.
Oh.
Eh.
Whoops.
There you
give him a
go.
couple
Was
minutes.
it something I
Vicky,
said?
just go pee.
It's always something you said.
Vicky, just go pee. We're gonna give Matt a couple minutes.
Oh, okay. You can
Yes.
sit here and
This is a this is a Twitless Ask Me Anything. Although I reserve the right to plead the fifth, depending on what you ask.
all right. Well, I'll be back in just a minute. You guys keep everybody entertained.
Will someone enter the chat? Stay tuned.
I mean, they're gonna have to wait for Vicky to come back. But yeah, people, just hop in and come ask questions. It'd be nice to hear from you, even if you just want to say hi to Twitless. If you want to be mean to Twitless, go ahead and do that too.
Great. Now that's the key.
And
If
there's
you want to
the
be mean to
link.
Twitless, you'll have a line of like 100.
It's a good point. I should post this on Twitter.
Come and tell Twitless to shut up. There we go. I'll get get a whole bunch of
Want
people now.
to hear about Twitless's comic directly from him? You have. Sorry, I'm gonna type this out loud. Do you have any questions you want to ask him?
Are you typing with one finger?
No.
Okay, because this
You
A-R-E.
just want to
Are you an amputee? You have one hand? You type with?
shut up, Twitless. Do you just want to be mean, Twitless?
Space.
Here you go. He deserves it. There we go.
Oh, great.
And there's the it's now on Twitter, so hopefully there might be somebody waiting in the back.
Yep.
But of course Vicky had to be rude and just decide to go pee. Fucking bitch.
I disavow.
Yeah, me too. Just an awful person.
How come you're not on camera? I've seen you on camera before.
Okay, so I'm in the middle of like getting my room set up for video. Now, I've done some really cool things. Because I have like a really expensive camera.
Yeah, you got like some expensive stuff. Like your mic is like really good. Is it a Yeti?
No, I use a actual audio interface, and so I use like a dynamic microphone. So like they don't plug directly into your computer. You use an audio interface, and then that connects to your computer, right? They use XLR cables. They're like, studio.
So you actually know what you're doing.
Yeah, audio is
okay.
really important to me. I think that like people should have really good sound. A Blue Yeti is cool, like as far as USB mics, but I just think that like
because I was gonna upgrade to a Yeti.
Yeah, well, so a Yeti is like $100, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I would suggest is spend $100 more and get like Focusrite Solo. That's an audio interface, and then get a dynamic or condenser microphone.
Dean, he wants to spend that $100 putting it into his comic.
That's true. It's hard for me to spend money when every page is costing me labor. but I do want higher quality audio, so I'll have to look. I took a note. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I'll send you some links so you can see what I'm talking about.
I have an
Just-
Amazon gift card.
Hello again, Matt. We're gonna try
Hey,
this
how's it
one more
going? Yeah, sorry, I closed the wrong window, and I'm
time.
sorry. I'm so
It's
sorry.
I thought it was
okay.
something I said.
It
No,
Yes.
usually is. It usually
It
is.
usually is. Yeah. So, did you have a question for Twitless about his book?
Me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I did. I guess the first question was: Are there other super powered people in this city?
So I'm starting off with Omega Girl, but I am going to have an expanded. We're going to bring some more superheroes in, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about because how superpowers work and interact is really important to me. So I'm starting to build a cast of characters I would like to build into a superhero universe. But I want to start with Omega Girl first. But I've got some others that I'm going to have some fun with. One of them
Because you kind of pull from a game with it's a massive multi online.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
figured there would be a ton of characters. Plus you mentioned a comic book that has a ton of characters. So I was just
yes, yeah. It's going to
wondering
start
where
with
the other guys are.
Yeah, they're coming. Yeah. So yeah, I like a large cast of characters, so it's definitely going to build up to something. But thank you for
How
that
big is
question.
this city? Like how far does it go out? Is it like a Mega City 1, or are we going to see outside of the city?
Yes, it's not as big as Mega City 1. Mega City 1 is like ludicrous size. It's like, isn't there like a billion people in it or something?
Yeah, it's like it's half the East Coast, pretty much.
Right, yeah. No, it's not Mega City 1. It's I think it's a coastal American city is kind of where we put it, because we have I think a Bay Area. So it's definitely kind of like, Metropolis style
Wait,
type.
wait. Did you say Bay Area?
I think we have a Bay Area.
I thought you were saying you're from.
No. I am
New
not from the.
York City.
No, I'm not from the Bay
You're
Area.
talking about the Chesapeake Bay?
What?
No, I'm just saying, like, in our fictional city, I think we have like a port or something. So I think it has to be like a coastal city.
We're all getting tired and punchy. Like what? Bay?
No, like I'm from like the rural South. I don't know what geography is. I just like what's
Dean's from San Francisco, so he automatically, if the word bay is spoken, he instantly thinks it's
yeah,
it's his
exactly.
shit.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
happened.
That
Yeah.
happens to me too, and I haven't lived there in like 2 decades. So.
Tim
And
says,
I grew up on Chesapeake Bay, so it's like when you say the bay, I'm going,
yeah, right.
Chesapeake Bay.
You're thinking of real places, and I'm from like the middle of backwoods nowhere, and I'm just like, I know of cities because I've seen them on TV. So-
Right. You've played in them. You played video games.
I played video games with cities. Tim says, "Hey Dean, come up with Twitless's universe name. The rule is you can't end with verse."
Yeah, so I came up with the universe name for Tim. He came on my friend's he came on Well Red's review of Common America, and we were talking about names for the extended universe, but it couldn't have verse in the name.
Right.
And so I came up with commonality. But I saw him say that, and Omega Sphere, I think, is a good one.
Gonna write that down. That's not bad. Give me a second. I'm taking notes. I like that.
There's Omega Cosm.
No, that one, no.
No, Omega Sphere. That was
Yeah,
that
I
first
think
one.
Omega
Sphere,
Sphere was definitely
go
like
with the
just the winner
first.
off.
Omega.
Son of Colonel says, "What are
Omega
Omega
move.
Girls' phase rip stats? What's phase rip?" I'm
I
gonna
have
look
no-
really dumb here.
I have no
Jeez,
idea.
you call yourself a gamer. I'm just joking. I don't know if it has anything to do with
Yeah, I don't.
games.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a gamer stat thing or whatever. Actually, I know a couple City of Heroes stat related thingies here and there. I'm not nearly as good of a player as the people who have like.
Are they ever going to bring that game back?
They did. It's called Homecoming. At least one of the servers is. The main one. You could just look up City of Heroes Homecoming, and you can just download the game, and get into it. And
I mean, like a new version.
You mean like
a
an official
PlayStation
one?
5? Yeah, like like a.
The problem is that
There's
like
clearly like a fan base. You know what I mean? There's clearly like people are still like loving it, and it does sound like it'd be a great game to play. I think.
So there's like, I've followed this for a little bit. There's actually 3 or 4 like successor projects. The official owners of the City of Heroes IP are like, it's like a it's called NCSoft, and I think it's a Korean company, and they've been really reticent. They just like shut down any discussions on repurchasing it, because there were people who were in discussions to try to purchase the IP for years, and there's a whole like thread devoted to it. And so people started making successor games. Most of them have not come to fruition. There was a Kickstarter for one called City of Titans, and it's been like 4+ years in development, and no one has heard anything really much or enough.
Because what a great idea for a game. You know what I mean? Like, it's just totally ripe for, next gen.
Yeah, so there's currently, if you're into superhero things, you can play. There's one called Ship of Heroes. Then there is DC Universe Online, and a couple of these kind of in development successor titles. Apart from there's Champions Online. Everyone forgets about that one.
Can you be the bad guy in if you play like the DC Online? Could you be a bad guy if you wanted?
You can, and it's actually one of the best parts of DC Universe Online. They have a pretty decent story mode when you as you journey to max level, but then the game gets really grindy and it's all about end game raids. But they animated like with the animated comics, like the main story, and so that part's actually pretty legit and it's pretty fun. So if you get a chance to play DC Universe Online, at least just to take your character from level 1 to level 30 or 40 or whatever your level max is out, that's kind of a fun thing to do. And you can do it in about a week. It's just after that point, if you really want to have like a legit character, you have to start grinding gear. It's a gear-based game, and it's
I've seen people play, but I'm not down with like the grind, the loot grind.
When City of Heroes first came out, wasn't it also like a subscription game?
It was.
Like you had to, that's why I never played it. I remember when it released, but I was just like, God damn it! I'm not spending all this money on a game just to pay them monthly.
It was like $15 a month. Yeah, I paid it when I was a teenager.
Yeah, I was beyond a teenager by then, and I was just like, nah.
Well, then you could just use your social security check.
Thanks,
fuck.
Twitless.
I don't see the problem.
Shut up, Twitless.
How do I download this onto my Jitterbug?
So I'm one for 3 now for the shut up Twitlisses. So I just need Matt to chime in, and I'll collect my bingo card.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I don't think he'll say it though. He's not in on the.
I'm not in on anything.
Okay.
Is this another one of your characters?
Yes, this is one of the villains. This is Hijack. He's got electrical powers. Yeah. So Son of Colonel told me finally what Phase Rip is. It's from TSR's Marvel Superheroes RPG from the 80s. Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with that one. I played Mutants and Masterminds. That was the superhero RPG that I played, which was pretty fun, although combat was kind of weird. Combat was really binary in that game. You either were taking no damage at all, or you were just getting the snot kicked out of you.
So tell us about this villain.
Okay, so this is Jackal preys on the weak and the oppressed. So people who are bullied, people who are left behind from the technological progress, and Jackal tempts them with power. And so as you'll see in the story, that this is the longer story from issue 1. Hijack in his normal identity was kind of a bullied student, and he was tempted with power. And because he was kind of poor and didn't have the ability to keep up with the technological progress. And so he unfortunately succumbs to the temptation. He becomes the villain Hijack, who has the ability to control electricity and hijack electrical systems.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like the outfit. It's got a kind of like a Kirby look to it with the lines and circles and stuff.
Yeah. I came up with the idea for the little orange power nodes, because he originally looked too blue and ended up making him look too much like Dr. Manhattan. But the little orange dots just kind of popped out enough to make him look unique in that respect. I'm personally, since I did the lettering for the book, I learned Adobe Illustrator a bit for that. I'm just proud of the fact that I put a little bit of a 3D shadow effect behind the name Hijack. So when you get into lettering, you start nerding out about, oh my gosh, I put like a little shadow effect on the letters. Yeah, like so. So the little, I'm starting, since I'm learning lettering, the little lettering details on like the word balloons and stuff, I've gained a lot of respect for, and the craft of putting word balloons on the page.
Know your kerning, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Stuff like
about
that.
to say they look pretty good. The lettering looks pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
already finished, right? I mean,
yes, yep. It's all on Indie Planet. There's still things I have to learn. There's still some I'm sure mistakes people can point out, but for my first comic, it turned out much better than I expected it to be. And if this is my worst comic because it's my first one, I'm proud of that.
You should be. It's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, dude.
To get from point A to having your book up, completed and done and ready to go into people's hands.
Yeah, and my plan is to have 3 issues out this year. I have all the artwork for issue 2, so I just have to get that lettered, and I plan on releasing that at the end of the summer. And I'd like to get issue 3 in people's hands by the end of the year. So I should have about 72 pages of content I'm hoping to have available to people by this year. Next year, I think I finally want to maybe tackle a crowdfund, but I wanted to work my way into that. And I wanted to have a lot of material so that when I put the crowdfund together, it'll be an omnibus edition. I'll put in like a bonus story and some other, is it tchotchkes that people that term? You put in like the trading cards and stuff. But I'll have pretty much most of what will be in that omnibus edition all ready to go. It'll just be a little bit of some bonus material and maybe some of the concept art and some additional author stuff put in there as a bonus for that book. And that'll make that crowdfund, I think, hopefully we'll set it up for success, and that's my plan.
Yeah,
the only tchotchke you need is a bookmark. That's it.
That's it.
I want
really?
to do some trading. I want to do some trading. I want to do some trading.
Tchotchke.
Yeah, that says Smug is on an anti-bookmark.
Yeah.
This devolved really fast. If you don't know what Arrested Development is, you're just like, why are these people losing their minds?
Oh my!
I attended a discussion with one of the writers of Arrested Development. It was very fascinating to hear his perspective on it. He said that because I asked him about the script because there's so much crammed in each one of those scripts, and I was saying, tell me about the scripting for that, because every single shot has so much in it. There's an action joke, a camera visual joke. There's like things in the background. There's audio cues and jokes. Mm-hmm. And he said that for My Name is Earl, the script was like 20 or 30 pages or something. He said a script for Arrested Development was like 80 pages long. And he said it's why most of the staff after season 2 burned out and then quit because of just all of the, intensity of writing that show. And that's why people notice a huge difference in Arrested Development between season 2 and season 3, because all of the writer's room kind of like killed themselves on those extremely long scripts where they were just jam packing them full of stuff. So fascinating stuff from behind the scenes. And when you're working with a superhero comic, it's not nearly as complex, but there's quite a lot that goes on behind the scenes there as well with scripting and how I have to leave notes for the artist. I leave coloring notes. One of the ones I always have in the back of my head is make sure I keep the day and night cycles correct, because you can show a cityscape, and if you don't note it in the script, this happens during the day, this happens at night, then your artist may interpret things very differently, and that can screw up story scenes. And there's other coloring notes that are really important to leave for your artist, because at the end of the day, when you're trying to work with artists, you want to make sure that they enjoy the process as much as possible, because if they hate it, even if you're paying them, they're not going to really want to do it and over time, and eventually they'll want to just see an exit sign. So I try to make the amount of changes I ask for as limited as possible. So in order to make that process work, so I'm not saying completely redo this page or redo this panel, it's incumbent upon me as the writer to make sure that, and Vicky, you mentioned this earlier, the vision you have in your head. And as a writer, you want to make sure that you're as close as possible in describing and imparting that. And that's also why I like to have conversations with the artist as much as possible, like face to face or on Skype or whatever, so that we're on the same page regarding what's the vision in my head. Because if there's a disconnect there, it can result in, massive changes needing to be done. And, no artist wants to erase a page of work that they've done. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of kind of behind the scenes considerations, because even if you're in charge of it, an artistic product, and I've learned this with working with other groups as well, it's really run on the passion and love of it as well as the money. And so I try to get my artists on board as much as possibly can, even though I'm paying them, because, art that's purely done just for, I'm just doing this for the paycheck and I hate you, you're not going to get the same quality of work.
Yeah.
Do you do thumbnails with these guys, with the artists that you have for the interiors? Like, do you get thumbnail sketches and stuff to begin with, so that there's less redrawing of panels and pages later on?
So the artist I work with does roughs, and he kind of does like full sketch kind of stuff. If it's a page, and if it's a page that is going to be very experimental, because there've been a couple, in the first book, there was a double page spread, and it was kind of hard for me to impart my vision. And because I knew there was going to need to be more back and forth with that one, I specifically requested, I said, man, don't do like a full sketch up of this page. Do rough geometric shapes, basically, yeah. So when there are certain pages where I know that it's going to take a little bit of back and forth, I ask for that level of artwork. Otherwise, he kind of goes straight to, rough sketch. And that's worked pretty well for us so far.
And do you ever do like creative decks? Like, not like, when I say deck, another word for that would be like a mood board. Like, do you start generating like something for the artist to look at, like, you're having a time. Yeah. Like, a mood board, these are locations that I have in mind, and you're referencing photos and shit that you found. There's maybe shots from movies that you're referencing.
Yes,
so you're like kind of creating a document that he can reference. Because, sometimes an artist is sitting, at his table at like 2 a.m, and he may not like remember everything you fucking were trying to tell him in that 30 minutes. So he has, something to reference. So I wasn't sure if maybe you had that.
So, yes, essentially to that question, what I do, I use Google Docs. I find that to be the best because, if I need to make changes to the script, it's all done in, in a cloud document. So I don't have like multiple copies of the script floating around to confuse people. And I fill those a lot of times with, reference shots. If I have a particular just action pose or anything like that, or maybe even a color scheme or something, I copy paste that in there all the time. I also have a story Bible where I try to put a lot of reference material in there. And so I'll draw from that. So yes, I do fill lots of references, and that's why everyone was noticing that one of my characters looks exactly like Macho Man Randy Savage, because I pulled.
Yeah, let me see that guy again. There's some anatomy issues that I'm seeing with that guy's bulge. Is he wearing a cod piece?
Wouldn't surprise me. I don't think I was in my original script, but
Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on.
let's make that canon.
I mean, I'm asking you questions that you could easily just be like, yes.
Yeah, I intended that.
Is his whole gourd and fucking twig and berries, it was all crammed into a little tennis ball? You can say yes. Yes, it is.
How big is it?
Just like in pro wrestling. That's
Well,
pretty
he's
much-
Pro
based on-
wrestling.
He's based on Macho
Ooh,
Man.
yeah.
Yeah, and his superpower.
hearts.
His superpower is basically being able to use pheromones to attract control large crowds of young women. So
What does it do to gays? Does it attract gay men to him? Right? Does it attract gay men? What about gay women?
These
Do they
were-
fucking want to start punching them?
I
these
would
were not.
imagine
What kind of?
that would be a different kind of pheromone.
Yeah, you need a different pheromone for that.
I'm just wondering. It's like he has a pheromone, and it's like triggering. So I wonder if there's like counter triggers. All the chicks love him, and every dude in the room is like, "Fuck that dude."
Yeah, basically. You've clearly put more thought into this than I have.
I mean, I'm just looking at it. I mean, I gave the dick and balls a couple minutes thinking, and I saw I was like, are those severed hearts? Like, is he throwing monkey hearts at people? But those are little like vials of his aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's alchemical kind of super science pheromone vials that he uses to mind control.
And he's
young
part
women.
of the
Jackal
Doberman
organization.
team.
Yeah.
Or
So
is
that's
that what
that.
it is,
He's
the
got that.
Jackals?
He's got that on the belt. I try to put all the Jackal villains. I try to put some Jackal symbol or something on them. These are
cool.
the Neo humans. There's the Jackal soldiers, and they wear the sort of like Jackal outfit with the actual helmet and stuff, and that you can see them on the cover and in the comic as well. But for the kind of next level up of their organization, there's the Neo humans, and they're all kind of a little more unique in their abilities. We saw, this is Muckraker. He's a pile of toxic sludge.
Yep. That's what kind of looks like.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, he looks cool.
I like the Cyclops thing he's got going.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, if you like the eye, you're gonna love what happens later on in the story. We did some cool stuff with that.
And then hijack again.
Yep.
Good stuff, dude. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I like it. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, though, I gotta get going, guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've definitely we've overstayed our welcome, Matt. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for just letting me ask whatever I wanted. I appreciate
No, I
it.
appreciate. No, thank you so much for coming and asking questions.
You.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Matt. You should come on another time.
You bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, the end pitch. Everything is in the damn description. And Twitless's book looks really cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So go buy. I almost said
There's
go back.
no reason not to at like, what was it, $1.99 for the digital and then $3.99 for the physical.
Yep.
There's really no reason not to.
None at all.
Yeah.
None at
It
all.
looks great. It's got like a great retro look to it.
And you don't have to wait 6 months for it to show up in your mailbox.
You just have to wait however long it takes Indie Planet to get it to you. So
which isn't 6 months, I'm sure.
No, it's not. Usually, it takes a couple of weeks.
Already doing really good. Way less than
others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Have a great night, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.